Hello, bonjour, ça va?
Non, tu parles français? Ah, tu parles français? Le micro vert, s'il te plaît.
Allô? Ah oui, je parle un peu.
Oh, quelle surprise!
Ma français, c'est très mal.
Non, c'est pas très mal, c'est...
Merci beaucoup. Right, in English from now on.
Okay, that's good, so we'll speak in English, but that was beautiful.
Thank you.
That was really nice. It is beautiful, but actually, it's less beautiful than your face. While we were waiting for you, it seems like you have a lot of fan for just your physical appearance, which is not nice.
That's worrying.
There is more to him than his beauty.
Beauty is only but skin deep.
However, that is how you started, if you like, in his career, was as a model, correct?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I actually, I was playing music when I was very young. I used to play drums in a band in London. And then I was at a music festival and somebody approached me and asked me if I wanted to take some photographs. It sounds very seedy. And
it's very
some nude pictures. I was like, sure, yeah, whatever. And I did that for like a year. Hated it, just thought it was fucking awful. And then, I was back at school, but my first love was always music and drama and acting. And I wanted to go to drama school, and I was just fortunate enough that I got a job whilst I was still at school and started to work.
Parfait. Donc j'ai dit, est-ce que il a commencé en tant que modèle, mais en fait non, son premier amour c'était la musique. Et un jour quelqu'un lui a vu et il a dit j'ai envie de faire des photos avec toi. Je crois que c'était elle. Et voilà, ça, your younger self would be proud. Ah,
thank you.
That's so nice.
Very sweet.
And it's true. Would your younger self be proud, or actually are you a disappointment to your younger self?
That is so savage. No, I think my younger self would be wildly shocked that I am that I'm able to survive and live because of the thing that I love the most in the world. I think I know that today and every day I wake up and I get to do the job that I do, I'm shocked and I'm so grateful. So I think my younger self would be, I don't know about proud, because I don't know if I love the idea of pride, but I think my younger self would certainly be overjoyed to know that the thing that he loved, he made a career out of.
Can I just say as well, thank you for saying that, because no judgment on how we all grow as artists, but I feel like sometimes with actors, and there has been glimpses of that today, that there isn't a gratitude and a joy for the thing that they do. And just the way it comes out of you just shows that you do it because you fucking love it.
No word of a lie, I fucking love my job. Like, I genuinely feel most fulfilled and happy when I'm being creative. And the fact that I get to do that alone, I would do it regardless, but the fact that I get to do it is just, to me, it's everything. So there's not a day that goes by that I don't wake up and go, wow, this is amazing.
Donc il a une immense reconnaissance pour ce boulot, d'accord? Parce que quelquefois il y a des comédiens qui le font juste pour un chèque, mais lui, bien sûr c'est bien d'être payé, bien sûr, mais il le fait pour l'amour. And I fucking love it! J'aime bien quand les gens le font pour l'amour. I love it when people do things for the love of the thing that they do. And so it's just nice to hear that.
Do you want to know a secret?
Yeah, tell me.
No, I say it in the microphone.
In the microphone? Well, it's not really a secret, is it?
This is the only piece of advice that I really can give and that I have. It's that if you follow something for the sake of money, particularly in the creative field, it's going to fail. If you do the thing that you do because you love it, regardless of whether or not anybody sees it or consumes it, you're going to feel satisfied. And I learned that pretty quick. There are still moments where, like, where you sit back and you go, oh my gosh, I've got a mortgage or like I've got rent to pay. do I take this job? And say, for instance, you do. I guarantee you that it's going to be fucking awful. It's just going to be shit. So now I really do lead with my heart, and wherever that takes me is wherever I'm supposed to go. You know?
So, have you said no to certain projects because your feelings weren't necessarily vibing with it?
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Do you think that comes at a cost, right? So, for example, Philip Seymour Hoffman, who I find an inspiration, said, you should never turn down the opportunity to be on a stage, because there's always, and by stage it's also set, because there's always something to learn, right? And I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
That's a good point. I mean, I said this at a convention recently. I will never say no to an audition. I will audition for everything, just because I think it's really good practice for me as a performer. So if I don't quite understand the character or I don't love the script, I'm still going to go for it, because there's still going to be a side of me that hopefully I will be able to explore and figure out. And if I'm failing at it, okay, well, why am I failing at it? Can I do any better, right? But I think with regards to accepting the job, if you've done the audition and it's terrible, I think at that point you really have to look at like why you're doing it. And if you're doing it because you love it, then amazing. And if you're doing it because of any other reason, then for me, it's not good.
Okay, so when you accept a job, or strive to go for one, is a part of the joy, because you get to have an exploration of the self.
Yes, sir. Yeah, 100%. And I think with the best directors that I've ever worked with, Tim Burton, Roland Emmerich, I just worked with Audrey Dewan, who is a French filmmaker. She won Venice with her film Happening. You find more out about yourself through that process, because you put all this trust in your director, and they see a part of you that perhaps you don't see at that point in time, and they bring it out of you, and your job is to, I've said this recently, but at the moment I feel like my job is to prepare, and then be prepared to let all of that go. And just be like, I'm an open book, do what you will with me. And it's terrifying. Yeah. It's terrifying, but yes, you're right.
Donc un des plaisirs de ce job, ok, c'est tu explores, je suis désolé si je ne traduis pas exactement correct, c'est que tu explores ce que être soi, ce que être humain. Regardez, il y a tellement de gens autour de nous, et le rôle d'un comédien, c'est de savoir comment comprendre toutes les personnalités qui existent. Et c'est compliqué, mais c'est un plaisir. So actually, based on what you just said, Vecna is someone that strives for power, has to deal with loneliness and isolation. It's actually, despite his monstrous appearance, is someone that is incredibly human when it comes to the themes that you can explore. And so, what did you discover in playing someone that is ultimately the epitome is not the right word, but essentially it is evil?
It's resentment, is what I would call it. It's deep-set resentment, and I said this again recently in an interview. I stepped into Stranger Things season 4 having gone through yet another wild spiritual journey and process of letting go of a lot of resentment and things that were holding me back personally and spiritually, and entered into this process with just this sort of joy and warmth in my heart. And with Henry, particularly when he's interacting with young Eleven, he's looking at her and he sees so much of himself in her that there was a warmth, there was a real kindness there. I see myself in you, I see the things that I've gone through in you, and we are kindred spirits. And then you get to Vecna, and all you're left with is resentment. I was like, oh my God, I found it very intense being back, being in that state, and in that state in its purest form almost, so yeah. It's not to say it wasn't fun. I had a good time doing it, but yeah.
And what did it what did being resentment at its purest form, what did it teach you about your interactions with humanity?
Well, okay, so here's an interesting thing. I think with Henry, he sees the world as a very damaged and broken place, and his ultimate goal is to fix that. Because of his childhood experience, he talked about the idea of isolation and loneliness. The guy was isolated from his family. His mother didn't understand him. His father was an alcoholic. There's a show, there's a Stranger Things play on it in London at the moment, and a lot of this is also explored in the play. And so within that, you know, he becomes again isolated, I suppose, and lonely, and has to create a world in his own head, right? And it did make me look at the world in a different way. It did make me think that the world is at times a very dangerous place, and that's not something I grew up believing. You know, I grew up believing everything's beautiful. You know, grew up in the English countryside, everything's amazing, life is gorgeous, the sun shines, everything's beautiful. But I think now in this, it's very sad, but I think now in the world in which we're living, you know, it feels to me sometimes like it is becoming a more fragmented place, for sure. And I found that particularly fascinating to discover and to uncover. And you know, there were parts of my, wow, how deep do I go here? But there were parts of that.
Let's go deep.
There were parts of my own experience that I hadn't attached to the character or to the experience of the character, but that as I was going through, discovered that there were so many similarities within. You know, I've had a beautiful and very interesting life, and there were many times that I'd be saying things, and on the set, on camera, and in my mind, I would be back in some of the places that I've been to, and the things that I was saying felt true, you know? Take from that what you will.
Donc, il est reconnaissant de sa vie. Il a eu une belle vie dans le paysage de l'Angleterre et tout ça. Une belle vie. En fait, je voulais savoir comment lui, en tant que comédien, il a transformé en jouant Henry et l'évolution à Vecna. Et parce que Henry, au début, il est quelqu'un de... Tu sais, c'est pas un méchant en quelque sorte, c'est quelqu'un qui veut changer le monde et qui veut peut-être aider. Il voit le 11, elle s'appelle 11 en Angleterre, en français 11, et il veut l'aider et tout ça. Mais en fait, la monstruosité qui existe dans le monde le transforme en quelque sorte en monstre. Et après, Vecna, il est quelqu'un en fait de très humain. On dirait pas parce qu'il est tellement monstrueux, mais ses désirs et ses peines et ses douleurs sont très humains. Et en jouant Vecna, il a découvert que ouais, il était presque peut-être au milieu, quoi. Would it be fair to say that you almost felt that you were in the middle of Henry and Vecna in terms of like the things that you discovered about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think you, like we were saying, you know, you always uncover more about yourself as you go through an artistic process. So, yeah, I mean, not even in the middle, like deep in both, like fully cemented in both. But that's part of my process now. And I think for characters like this, you know, the characters that we perceive or that are presented as being evil, they have to be that way because of something, right? And my process now is trying to understand why somebody becomes the way that they are, and in that you form a relationship with them, and you form a love with them, and you protect them in a way. You know, it's like if somebody's like, oh well, Henry's the bad guy, I'm like, no, I don't agree with that. I mean, I think Brenner is the worst of all of them, you know, I think I really do. But I'm sure Matthew Modine, if he was sat here, would say, you're wrong, you know.
I'm not well versed in Stranger Things
Okay.
lore, so I've seen it all once.
Right.
But I imbibe as much as I can. But
So Brennan, you know, Dr. Brennan, he runs...
Oh, okay, the doctor.
Yeah,
Yes.
So he runs the laboratory and he sort of is manipulating the children for his own advantage, you know.
Now, would you say, I love watching sometimes characters interact with one another on screen because often they're always reflections of each other, right?
Yes,
now,
there is a truth.
Is the Doctor in a way a reflection of what Henry sort of becomes? Because, like, I'm sure that the Doctor had good intentions at the beginning, and is so unwilling to change course that they become villains. That's how villains become, right?
Yeah.
Is that they have a viewpoint and they are unwilling to change, and through that pursuit, anything, get the fuck out of my way.
Yeah, yeah.
And so in his pursuit at maybe being a good doctor,
Yeah.
unwilling, blind, evil.
Yeah. So do I think he's a reflection? I mean, I think that's a very interesting spiritual question, because I think that when we look at each other, there's, you know, there are schools of thought when you see something in somebody else that you don't like, it's because it's a reflection of yourself, right?
Yeah.
Do I think that Henry is looking at Brenna thinking, there is part of me in you? No, because every time that guy entered the room, I was like, I'm sorry, children, I'm going to swear right now, but every time that guy entered the room, I was like, you fucking bastard, you've ruined my life. So, do I think that Brenna made Henry the way that he is? I wonder if there's part of that which is that in order for Henry to survive, he had to do things because of Brenna. Maybe.
It's nice that you've said the word spirituality, right? So
Many times already.
at the very least, I suppose I'm very fascinated with the concept that evil is necessary.
Yes.
Right? So now evil in English has a lot of connotation.
Yeah.
En français, c'est le mal. Ça se traduit pas, it doesn't translate as well. Donc il y a le bien, there's the good en anglais, et après there's evil. Evil. Mais evil en français, traduit, c'est le mal. Et ça, il y a quelque chose de différent, parce que le mal, moi je peux avoir mal à la tête, mais je peux pas avoir evil of the head. Ça se traduit pas, it doesn't translate. And so I think that sometimes I struggle to converse with people about evil in France, because I don't have the word for it. Well, in English, the word evil. And that's essentially what you had to play. Now, my question would be, do you find that evil is necessary? Because that's the only way heroes can rise.
I suppose it depends on what I suppose it's... Okay, let's go back. So I suppose it depends on what we're describing as evil, right? We look at yin and yang. You know, there's a light in the dark and there's a dark in the light. There is a necessity. You know, one cannot exist without the other. There is no day without night. There is no joy without sadness. If you were joyous all the time, you wouldn't know you were joyous all the time, because you don't know what it means to be sad. Do I think that evil is a necessity in order for heroes in order for heroes to arrive? In stories, it serves as a good mechanism, because you're creating polar opposites. It's obvious. But I did see something, and I wonder if anybody else has seen it, which is that the hero will kill you to save the world, but the villain will kill the world to save you.
Oh, I like that.
I got that on Instagram. Allez, je suis pas.
N'applaudissez pas, c'est pas pour lui, c'est Instagram qui l'a fait. Non, mais il a dit qu'un héros pourrait te tuer toi pour sauver le monde et un vilain détruirait le monde pour te sauver. Je suis désolé si ma conjugaison est...
It's an interesting point.
Attends, j'arrive. Ah, I'm coming. What did you say? Qu'est-ce que t'as dit?
Le héros serait capable pour mourir pour la personne qu'elle aime, alors que le vilain serait capable de mettre le feu à l'univers entier pour toi.
Oh, so romantic. Tellement romantique. But it's true. And so then, therefore, because one of the things that I find our job allows is for the exploration of self. And one thing I realize is a lot of people don't have time for that, right? Most people have a 9-to-5 job, they have kids, they have just stuff to do, they haven't got time for it. And so one of the things that the exploration of good and evil has allowed me is to find myself at peace in a world that is constantly confronted by quote-unquote evil, right? The thing that's happening with Russia and Ukraine, Israel and Palestine, all that sort of stuff. You could say one is evil and the other's not, right? And as a storyteller, I can't quite tell, right? Because I know that there's always complexity from both sides. Has it allowed you actually to be almost a zenful, peaceful creature, or do you still struggle with the day-to-day atrocities and stuff like that?
Oh, I struggle with day-to-day atrocities in the world. Don't get me wrong, like, I'm finding it increasingly hard to open up any news application at the moment and be consuming any form of news media right now. Like, I am finding it deeply concerning, the state that we're in. As far as like my own internal conflict goes with myself, fuck, that's still there, man. Like, and that's the thing I struggle with. I think it's the thing that we all struggle with, is this internal battle within, you know. The mind can play serious tricks on me, but one thing that I think that as I've grown older and as I've you know, traversed this life is, I don't think in the same way that the French don't have a word for evil, I don't think, do you have a word for people pleaser here? I heard the other day that there is no word for people pleaser in French.
Est-ce qu'il y a un mot en français pour people pleaser? Donc quelqu'un qui veut vraiment donner du plaisir à un genre.
No?
Non, c'est...
Which, okay, amazing. I love that. Because in England, being a people pleaser is like, it's like sort of ingrained in who you have to be. Please, everybody.
Oh, prostitute.
Oh no, don't get me wrong, I am a prostitute. But you know, in England, there is this very much this idea of people pleaser. You know, negate your own needs or negate your own sense of self for the sake of making somebody else happy, which ultimately is not going to make anybody happy, because you're not going to venture out into a world being happy. So now I'm like, okay, cool, like I am all things. It's very concerning and sweet when people come up and I meet you all and you all go, oh, you're so nice. Catch me on a bad day. I'm an asshole, but I'm okay with that. You know, we can all be difficult, and that's fine, but it's knowing that for me. It's knowing that some days I wake up and I go, you know what, I shouldn't talk to anybody today. I should just stay off my phone because I'm not going to be a good person today. And that's all right.
Therefore, knowing that, does that allow you to not deflect, but be an open-armed individual when someone is like that?
Yes,
right?
absolutely, 100%. It allows me the capacity to be able to look at somebody else who might be having a bad day and go, I know that feeling, I've been there.
So, je lui ai demandé en fait, puisque une des choses que les comédiens et les acteurs, ils ont beaucoup de chance, c'est de faire l'exploration de ce qui est soi-même. Et beaucoup de gens, ils ont du travail lundi à vendredi, ils ont des enfants, ils n'ont pas assez de temps à faire cette exploration. Et donc, je voulais juste savoir en fait ces résultats. Et il y a toujours, en fait, il disait qu'il y a toujours une bataille en nous. Tu sais, il y a le yin et yang, il y a le noir et blanc, le jour et la nuit. Et c'est savoir comment être les deux, être pas reconnaissant, enfin oui, en quelque sorte reconnaissant, mais savoir quand quelquefois il faut rester à l'intérieur et il faut se fermer la gueule. Tu sais, par exemple, quand les gens disent « Oh, Jamie, t'es tellement sympa !» Is it fun to hear the translation? Et c'est « Oh, il est tellement sympa !» Et il a dit « Oui, mais rencontrez-moi quand je suis un con. » Tu vois, il a la capacité d'être un vrai connard, en fait. Mais vous le rencontrez pas parce qu'il reste à l'intérieur.
But I think that but where I'm at, and not but, and where I'm at the moment is a recognition of that part of myself, and also understanding that we all have a responsibility to one another, if that makes sense, which is incredibly pagan, ultimately, at its source, this idea that there's a collective consciousness or unconsciousness that we all share in, and it's the responsibility of the individual to decide how the individual goes out and expresses themselves in the world and interacts with their fellow human beings. Which is why if I am having a bad day, I won't talk to anybody because I don't want to pass that off. I don't want to hand that over. Again, art, a wonderful tool to be able to express that within self. You know, it's if I'm painting and I paint badly. I do not paint well. Do not think that I'm a painter. But you know, I often find that my color palette is very, very dark. It's a very dark color palette. I mean, and I find that there's a level of catharsis within that. And I know I have some friends here who have been to many shows that I've played in the past and have seen me in full catharsis mode of getting as much out of me as possible, and I think that we all need that. I think that we all need that in whatever form. I'm waffling now.
No, it's nice. It's nice coming from Vecna, you know.
Vecna allows me to do that as well.
Il dit qu'on a tous une responsabilité de réagir, en fait. C'est ça être un comédien, c'est ça d'être un acteur, c'est réagir à la personne devant vous. Et comme je l'avais dit avant qu'il est arrivé, vous êtes tous déguisés, quoi. Vous êtes tous des comédiens en quelque sorte. Et on a tous une responsabilité à agir. Et une des choses qui est utile, c'est l'art. D'accord? Donc soit c'est comédien, musique ou peindre, il peint. C'est une façon de sortir toute cette peine et cette douleur et cette toxicité. C'est une façon de la sortir et de créer quelque chose de beau en fait. Et lui, il le fait, il peint and he sings. Am I correct to say that you are still a musician? You still do that at the same time?
I do, yes. Yeah. Yes.
Beautiful. Bon, on a un petit peu de temps. We've got a little bit more time, so now I'd like to invite some questions from the audience. J'aimerais bien avoir des questions du public. Si vous pensez là, et après on va faire un petit peu. Rapprochez-vous. Viens.
Hi, Jamie.
Quick film.
Yeah. I don't really have a question. I just want to say thanks to what you said after the photo shoot. It really meant a lot to me and it made my day.
I meant it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's what I have to say.
Great question!
Incroyable question. Non, mais c'est très joli. Oui, mademoiselle.
Est-ce que vous pouvez dire, est-ce que vous pouvez poser, faire mon réel, s'il vous plaît? Poser pour faire mon réel. Il a juste à poser.
Elle a demandé une question très deep, très philosophe. She asked a really deep philosophical question that deals with the complexity of
Is it
human
about
nature.
taking a photo for the Be Real or something?
Yeah.
Hello. I don't do Be Reals, but hello.
It was deep. Bon, si vous avez une question, est-ce que c'est vraiment une fucking question, please?
Hello, Jamie.
Hello, my friends.
My name is Leo. It's very
Hello.
nice to meet you, mate. So first, before my question, I wanted to tell you about your performance as Vecna was absolutely amazing, and I cannot wait to see more of your character in Stranger Things Season 5. So I have two questions. First, what do you think we can expect from Stranger Things Season 5? And second, how did it feel to play in movies like Emmanuel and Horizon from Kevin Costner? Because I think this project looks very promising and I can't wait to see your performance in these movies.
You nearly made me cry there. Thank you for asking about Emmanuel and Horizon.
No, wait, and thank you for being here.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Sorry, what was your question about Stranger Things? I forgot. You moved me so much with a question about Emmanuel. What can you expect?
Yes.
Sorry, you've shared it with me now mentally. You can, if you thought last season was big and nuts, just wait. This season is, it's out of this world. It's really, really big. It's crazy, yeah. I read the script and my jaw was like, ugh. So yes, that's going to be amazing. And then to play in Emmanuel, working with Audrey Dewan, I mean, to go from working on Stranger Things, which is, you know, it's in that sort of sci-fi kind of world that I'm used to, you know, it's quite heightened in a way. There's a level of heightened interest to going to working on a French movie where it's all about how relaxed can you be. And it was terrifying. I was terrified. But Audrey is the most amazing director, and I was working on the film yesterday. I was doing some ADR on it yesterday here in Paris, and I love the character. He's just so complex. So there's a real complexity to him, and you'll see what I mean when you see the film. And you know, I'm a small part in this big production, and yeah, Audrey's just made something really beautiful, and she's such an incredible filmmaker and such a talented writer. So it was a blessing. Horizon was just I'm English. I'm not a cowboy. What am I doing here? Help me. It was terrifying again, but Kevin, I'm 35. Waterworld for me was a huge movie growing up. So to work opposite Mr. Kevin Costner was just a dream come true. It really, really was. And I had such a good time doing it. Again, the character is nuts and complex and was just super fun to play. So yeah, I'm really grateful you asked that. Thank you so much. Thanks, man.
Il est très excité pour la prochaine saison de Stranger Things et il a aussi des beaux projets qui vont sortir. Il a fait un film qui s'appelle Emmanuel, le film is Emmanuel, correct? Il était là hier à Paris pour faire ADR, donc c'est une sorte de doublage, tu ajoutes de la voix en fait. Donc ouais, il y a des très beaux projets, there's beautiful projects coming up for Jamie. You and then you.
Hi again.
Hello again.
I was wondering, since you said that you didn't audition for anything and everything, would you be interested maybe in one day being in a video game, whatever that be, voice acting or like a mocap, for instance? A lot of people are doing that these days, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd love to if the project was right. I would be more than happy to do a video game if I was excited by it. Yeah, for sure. If it struck a chord with me.
Well, if you could choose any character in a video game, then let's expand on it. If you could choose any character,
That's amazing.
what would you want to play? Quelle sorte de personnage dans un jeu vidéo est-ce que tu aimerais jouer?
I grew up playing games like Max Payne on the PC.
Yo, it's a great game!
It's a great game. I would love to have done something on Max Payne. I don't think I could do Max Payne, but that would be super sick.
I think you could do Max Payne.
That would be fun. And then, Max Payne. We'll say Max Payne.
Max Payne, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Mademoiselle.
Hi, Jamie.
Hello.
Again. First of all, I want to say thank you for being a huge inspiration for this new generation, because we're bringing art for this new generation. So thank you for this. And my question is about social media. What is your opinion about social media? Do you think it's a safe place to express yourself? Once you used to be more active on social media a few years ago. What is your opinion about it?
That's an interesting question. I don't think I've ever had a conscious thought to remove myself from social media per se. I mean, there is a part of me that thinks, who the fuck wants to see what I'm having for breakfast?
We do.
Who wants to see that? It doesn't make sense to me. But the way I look at it now is it's a tool. It's a tool for me to present the art that I'm making, and I've really come to the understanding that for me now, my art has to be made in solitude. My art has to be made in isolation. Once it's finished, then I give it away. and at that point, it's postable or handed over, but the process for me has to remain pure, and that's just my process. I've experienced a lot of different sides of it, and now I know what works for me. So that's my opinion on how I run my social media. In terms of how it is for children, I don't know. It must be difficult. It must be difficult. That's all I can say. It must be hard.
Il est pas sur les réseaux sociaux autant qu'il était avant, et une des raisons qu'il est un peu plus solitaire, c'est parce qu'il veut faire son art en fait. Son art, il wants to make art, il veut faire son art et donc il le fait en solitude et après il le laisse, il te le sort. Donc en fait si vous voulez plus d'Instagram et tout ça, vous devrez être juste patient, plus patient. Mademoiselle?
Hi.
Hello.
Je me pose en français parce que je sais pas parler anglais. En gros, il a joué dans Harry Potter et en fait, je voulais savoir si il aurait aimé développer son personnage ou faire un autre personnage de l'univers d'Harry Potter ou des animaux fantastiques.
You're welcome, de rien. She asked a question, but it came from her mind. It was a ventriloquist sort of thing. So the question was, you are a character in the Harry Potter universe, and would you have liked to expand on that character, or would you have or would you like to explore someone completely new and unique in the Harry Potter universe, or as in the Fantastic Beasts?
Oh, that's very kind. I mean, I was very shocked to even be asked to come and play a tiny part of that film. So I don't know. I don't often sit back and kind of go, oh, I wish it was me. I was just grateful to have that opportunity, I think, in all honesty, and to see that character go through many different iterations, I think is really cool. I think it's nice to see new actors doing new things with it. The character is a character in a book, and everybody brings something new to it. So for me, I was just happy to do what I got to do, jump out a window and stare at Toby Regbo. It's cool. You're welcome. Hello again.
My question is, would you like to have? Sorry.
It's okay.
Would you like Joyce and Hopper have a wedding in season 5?
Joyce and Hopper to have a wedding in season 5?
Yes.
Oh, I just want them to die.
Merci pour vos questions, je suis désolé, on n'a pas assez de temps. But yes, il a adoré être sur Harry Potter, je suis désolé, il n'y a pas... non, il n'y a pas de temps. Is there anything that you'd like to leave us on?
I just want to say thank you. I mean, I've said this recently and I'll say it again. It is shocking that people want to come up and say hello and say thank you for the work that I do. And whilst we're all here together, if you do plan on coming up and saying hello and thank you for the work that I do, I just want to say that I understand the importance of cinema, music, art in general in terms of a healing process, and it's no one of us, not any of us individually are solely responsible for that. We are just grateful to be a small part of something that means so much to so many. So thank you for letting me be a part of something that means so much to you. That's all I want to say.
Ça c'est très beau. Yes, sure. Je vais juste le traduire pour ceux qui ne comprennent pas. Je lui ai demandé s'il voulait, qu'est-ce qu'il voulait nous dire avant qu'il parte. Et en fait, il est juste très reconnaissant. Et je comprends. Moi, je suis pas au même niveau, mais quand on a de la chance à faire un travail, c'est pas juste lui qui est devant l'écran, d'accord? Il y a les caméramans, il y a les gens qui font les lumières, il y a les gens qui font le son, il y a les gens qui nous apportent un petit café. Tu sais, c'est une collaboration, mais immense, que les gens, généralement, vous voyez pas, vous voyez juste l'écran, vous voyez juste ce qui est sur le screen. Et donc, lui, il est très reconnaissant, et je crois que c'est une humilité importante pour le travail, c'est qu'il est reconnaissant et il ne pourrait pas le faire sans vous. Et pas juste, il ne pourrait pas le faire sans vous, mais juste, si vous n'existez pas, on ne filme rien. Et donc, c'est ça, il est reconnaissant, you are grateful for your life.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, man. This has been awesome.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Thank you all so much. Have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Love you long time. Thank you.